In the year 672, an enemy fleet sailed towards the greatest city on Earth, fully expecting an easy victory. Constantinople had no army large enough to stop it. What it had instead was a weapon nobody had ever seen before, and nobody would ever fully understand again. Ships carrying this weapon sprayed a stream of burning liquid across the water. It clung to wood, it clung to sails, it clung to skin. And here's the detail that terrified every enemy who ever faced it. Water didn't put it out. In some accounts, water made it burn harder. Entire fleets turned to fire and fled, and the empire that should have fallen that year survived for another 800 years. Historians call it Greek fire, and to this day, nobody knows exactly what it was made of. That sentence alone should feel strange. We know how gunpowder was invented. We know the formula for classical explosives, ancient poisons, even lost alloys from civilizations that vanished thousands of years ago. But this weapon, used successfully for centuries by one of history's most documented empires, has a recipe that simply isn't written down anywhere. Not because nobody wrote it, because someone made absolutely sure nobody ever could. The Byzantine Empire treated the formula for Greek fire as one of the closely guarded secrets in its history, on the same level as royal succession or military codes. Only a small handful of people ever knew the full recipe at any given time. Production happened behind closed doors, inside a single controlled facility, away from soldiers, away from foreign visitors, away from almost everyone. Even the emperor himself sometimes withheld details from his own commanders, revealing only what was needed to operate the weapon, never how to recreate it. Why go to that extreme? Because the empire understood something that feels almost modern in how calculated it is. A weapon only stays powerful as long as nobody else has it. The moment a rival empire learned the formula, that advantage disappeared forever. So the Byzantines didn't just protect a weapon, they protected a monopoly, and they protected it for centuries through dozens of wars, sieges, and political upheavals that could easily have exposed it. The weapon itself came in different forms. Sometimes it was launched from siege engines onto enemy fortifications. Most famously, it was sprayed through bronze tubes mounted on the front of ships, essentially early flamethrowers, centuries before anyone else on Earth had a comparable technology. Byzantine sailors could ignite entire enemy fleets from a distance, while their own ships stayed just out of range. In naval warfare especially, this wasn't a small advantage. It was often the difference between total victory and total annihilation. Enemy accounts from the era describe genuine panic at the mere sight of the ships equipped with it. Some historians believe rumors and exaggeration around the weapon may have been almost as valuable as the weapon itself, because fear alone caused some fleets to retreat before a single flame was even launched. So what actually happened to the recipe? This is where the story turns from impressive to genuinely tragic in a very human way. Knowledge like this wasn't stored in a library or written into a widely copied manuscript the way most ancient science was. It lived almost entirely inside the minds of a very small number of specialists, passed down verbally, generation to generation, deliberately kept out of written records that could be stolen, translated, or leaked. This made it nearly impossible for enemies to steal. It also made it fragile in a way nobody seemed to fully account for. As the Byzantine Empire weakened over its final centuries, worn down by invasions, internal conflict, and the slow erosion that eventually ends any empire, the very system built to protect this knowledge became the thing that destroyed it. When Constantinople finally fell in 1453, the small number of people who still held the complete formula either died in the chaos, fled without passing it on, or simply never had the chance to record what they knew before it was too late. The empire didn't just lose a war, it lost knowledge that had taken centuries to develop in a matter of days. Nobody rediscovered it afterwards because there was nothing left to rediscover from. No hidden scroll waiting in an archive, no apprentice who carried it forward in secret. The chain simply ended. In the centuries since, historians, chemists, and military researchers have tried repeatedly to reconstruct the formula using surviving descriptions, chemical analysis of what little physical evidence exists, and educated guesses based on materials available in the region at the time. Leading theories point towards some combination of crude petroleum, resin, sulfur, and possibly quicklime, ingredients that could plausibly explain the described effects, but no modern chemist claims to know for certain that they've cracked it. What we have are strong theories built on incomplete evidence, which is a very different thing from actually knowing. Here's the part of this story that connects further than one lost weapon. This wasn't a case of knowledge disappearing because nobody cared enough to preserve it. It disappeared specifically because it was protected too well by too few people through channels too easily broken by a single catastrophic event. The same secrecy that made Greek fire nearly unbeatable in battle is exactly what made it impossible to survive the empire's collapse. That's a pattern worth sitting with because it isn't unique to the 7th century. Throughout history, and honestly right up to today, real value often gets concentrated into narrow, guarded systems, whether that's a trade secret, a critical skill held by a shrinking number of specialists, or knowledge that exists in only one place, one archive, one mind. It feels secure right until the moment that single point of failure actually fails, and by then, there's no second chance. Modern organizations still wrestle with the same quieter version of this same risk, whether they realize it or not. Specialized knowledge that lives in only one person's head, critical processes that were never properly documented because there was never enough time, or because keeping them undocumented felt safer. The lesson from an 800-year-old empire and its impossible weapon is the same lesson that applies today. Protecting knowledge and preserving it for the future are not automatically the same goal, and sometimes they're actually in direct conflict. Greek fire won battle after battle for centuries. It just never survived the one battle that actually mattered. The future isn't only shaped by what we managed to build. Sometimes it's shaped by what we were too careful to write down.